En nou gaan ek krieketsake gesels en daarvoor sluit die voormalige professionele krieketspeler Parsons by my aan. Hy is deesdae ook die boulafrigter van die Lions. Gordon, the Proteas are definitely on a roll. They've claimed yet another one-day series. What are your thoughts on their performances?
Fantastic effort, wasn't it? Yeah. New Zealand's a very tough team to beat in their own back garden, and to go there and beat them is something special, yes.
You've worked as a coach with many of the bowlers that are now doing really well at national level, but of course it takes a lot of hard work between coach and player to get to that level.
Yeah, it's obviously they come in at the franchise level or even the amateur semi-professional level, and then we obviously try and teach them the game and things they need that helps them bowl. To be a 145 kilometre an hour bowler and a 135 kilometre bowler, it's a different game plan, it's a different tactics, it's different skills. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do before they get to that level.
But specifically as a coach, what do you feel one has to do to get the best out of your players?
I'm quite fortunate. I've got very close relationships with most of the guys I've worked with. I mean, I get teased quite often about my sons, which I must say, Hardis for you, and one of my sons is his birthday today, so happy birthday, Hardis. You know, it is one of those things that I am very close to the players, and that's the way that I feel I can get the best out of them, because we talk on a friendship basis rather than a boss-employee sort of environment. And yeah, as anyone knows me well knows, I love coffee, so if you want to take me for coffee, I'm always available for coffees with the boys.
But if we talk skills specifically?
Look, obviously different bowlers have got different skills, and we have to be aware of it, and I think it's very important that we teach each bowler what their main skill is. For example, Dwayne Pretorius, now playing for the Proteas and doing very well, is a different type bowler, say, to Chris Morris or Kashisa Rabada, who's much quicker. So they've got different sets of skills and they do a different job within the team. So it's very important that they understand their role as much as sort of what the team needs from them, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. The Proteas bowling coach Saul Langeveld mentioned during the tour of Sri Lanka to South Africa that he feels the South African setup is only really going to be tested when we travel to England to compete in the ICC Champions Trophy later this year. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, I mean, I can see where Charles coming from. I mean, obviously Sri Lanka was a little bit in the rebuilding process, and then they lost their captain through injury, which doesn't help. So they were probably a little bit underpowered. But I think New Zealand's quite a test for the boys down under there, and they're coming through well. Obviously, Champions League is obviously something you gauge because there's a trophy at the end of it. And as we know, we're still waiting for that first trophy to go onto the cabinet. So, yeah, it will be a big test for them. And England in June will be probably pretty similar conditions to what we're getting in New Zealand at the moment. It's the start of the summer. It's still a bit chilly. There'll still be a bit of rain around, so it will be a good contest for them.
From a psychological point of view, do you think it's a good or a bad thing that we're going into this ICC Champions Trophy as the #1 team?
Well, the good news is it means you're winning because you're #1. So, I mean, that must make you very confident and positive. I don't think on the day it really makes any difference because, as we've seen before in the past, the big game can be a test that's sometimes a bridge too far, if you like. But and numbers don't mean anything. But it's going to be a good competition, and as we know, it's the best in the world playing.
Let's just focus also on the domestic scene, because that is where you are currently involved. The Lions specifically, they've had a lot of young players that have come through, yet you seem to be doing quite well. Do you have to adjust your strategy as a coach when you're working with a younger team?
Yeah, obviously it's much easier to work with senior players because they already know what is expected of them. And sometimes, particularly when we get young players in, we expect probably too much of them, and we've got a tendency to feel they're a finished product when they're actually still learning their trade. So we've got to be very careful not to expect too much of them and sort of be a little bit more lenient on them. We're quite lucky at the Lions. We've got a couple of really good youngsters. We've had Kami LaRue's come in bowling left arm swing bowling, and he's done a very good job for us in the 3 or 4 games he's played. We've got young Vian Mulder back now from injury, and he's doing a very good job for us as well, so we can't complain. But it has been tough because we've obviously lost players over the years for a multitude of reasons, and I think in the last 18 months we've lost 8 international cricketers, which you just don't replace overnight. So it has been a tough time for us to actually still be competitive, and we're actually quite happy with the way the season's gone, really. We are still competing.
Gordon, thank you very much for chatting to us tonight about all cricket things. All the best for the rest of the season.
Only a pleasure. Thank you very much.